Hi, my name is Jean. I'm the parent of a 22-year-old vax-injured, profoundly autistic son, Rory. If anything you take away from what I'm going to speak about is the first point is Alex has changed the dynamics of my family and how we live day to day. He's a genius, but besides being brilliant in formulating these 6-week protocols, I have never met anyone as genuine, selfless. He has, on a weekend, on a Sunday, taken time away from his family. He's currently doing all 5 members of my family. He is there. We've hit a few speed bumps along the way. I'll reach out to him. He's so quick to respond. He'll have different ideas. We've been exposed to strep. We've had COVID infections. We've been in some different little medical crises. And Alex, his knowledge, his experience, but just his willingness to help a total stranger. To the parents, regardless of how old your child is, I've been in the biomed community for almost 20 years now, since my son and daughter reaction to the vaccines. It's never too late. I've tried countless other modalities. Medical marijuana reduced the inflammation in my son's brain. It helped get him out of excruciating pain. It has helped put his inflammatory bowel into remission, or actually, it's healed his last scope. He was healed from top to bottom. He was the first pediatric patient in New York 7 years ago. Other than that, I've researched, I've tried everything. The one thing that I always did was he had a full day of school and he came home and he had a home program where he had a therapist in the home. I just felt he would isolate. He was so trapped in his body. He never lost his eye contact. I knew he was in there. I knew what happened to my child. Alex is giving our children a chance and our families a chance of normalcy. The progress or the subtle changes, I thought, did I just see that? Or am I just wishful thinking? I'm going to share an email that I sent to Alex within 2.5 weeks of starting the protocol. My son Rory is 18 days into the protocol. It is the best 2+ weeks since his aggression at 21 months. As his 2 siblings have noted, he is the calmest they have ever seen him. The constant hyperness is greatly reduced. He is starting to point at things consistently. The words that he has are clearer and his hand-eye stimming also greatly reduced. Each morning, I am excited to observe better functioning overall, and he is more engaged. He's enjoying time in the pool and not running back into the house, but staying with us for the entire time. There's been some huge gains, and then there's been hundreds of little just things. He never did that before. Or did he just do that? Early on, I said I always talk to him. I might not get a response, but I said to him, "Oh, we have a party tomorrow." He said, "Cupcake? Yummy." This is a child that had very few words or proper responses. He's much more independent. I'll say, "Come on, we got to get dressed." He started by going in his room and picking out clothes out of his armoire, getting fully dressed, shoes, socks, and his coat, and going to the door. I'm not ready. I'm at the sink, and I'm there running out to get him back into the house until we're ready to leave. If he's hungry, he'll say hungry. If I'm not quick enough, he goes into the kitchen. He'll open the refrigerator. He'll microwave something. He'll go to the cabinet. If he wants a cup of tea, he's turning on the teapot. It's an electric. It's just all those little things. He'll go into the laundry room. Sometimes he mixes dirty and clean clothes, but he knows the procedure. He's independent in the bathroom. He's seeking out attention. He's had a true awakening. His endocrinologist and his treating neurologist, my son also has PANS and other diagnosis that goes with the regression and also with having PANS. His physicians are just thrilled. They're excited every time they see him. The quality of his life, his overall health. With the PANS, the strep settled in his cerebellum. He appeared all of a sudden like a nonstop motor, his body. And he would have not vocal tics, but he would have a hum at times. That is completely gone. His central nervous system just seems to have shut off or just is regulated. There's just so much that I feel like I won the life lottery. I'm slowly getting parts of that happy, engaging, funny, goofy 21-month-old I lost 20 years ago. Alex is our hero. There's nobody, as I said, who has impacted or helped my family as Alex. I knew the gut microbiome because I've been in the biomed functional. We're always 10 years ahead of everybody else. My plans were, after we got over the hurdle of PANS and a few other things, I was going to go to Canada and do the fecal transplant. This by far, it's apples and oranges. This is healing our kids, the imbalances. And you're seeing real life results. And even through PANS flares, another COVID infection, and stomach viruses, we might have a few rough days, but he's not losing ground. And he looks better. It's just, as I said, this is the first thing when a child is newly diagnosed or they're going off. I couldn't think of anything. I think if you start with Alex's protocol, stick with it, dedicate yourself, your child is going to benefit and the whole family will benefit. But you're giving your child, and if my child has 20 years of damage and he's responding, he is having an awakening. Alex, I think you know, I will forever be grateful. There's no words that I could adequately express or describe what you have done for my family. We get up in the morning. We don't have that heaviness. We are starting to live more with the more normal routine, and we're relaxing for the first time ever. Thank you.
We just finished our first round on Alex's gut protocol with our 5-year-old son, who is diagnosed with ASD, and we have noticed so much more awareness in him, more engagement, more eye contact, overall feelings of happiness and love that he's expressing to each of us in the family. Actually, he's even taken notice in his baby sister, which has never happened before. So yeah, also on top of that, we've also started getting multiple stools per day happening. Not always, but now there's probably like 1 to 2 times a week where we get that, whereas generally he leans on the more constipation side. So yeah, we are very grateful and excited to start another round.
First of all, I would like to thank Alex for his support and giving us hope. My son is currently 3 years and 7 months old, and he was diagnosed with ASD level 2 when he was 2 years old. I've done 1 round with Alex so far, and I'll be starting my 2nd round soon. So when we did the first round with Alex, after the 3rd week, say between 3rd and the 4th week, we started seeing improvements in his speech. He was imitating a lot of words and gaining language as well. So there was improvements in his receptive and expressive language. So the gut balancing protocol definitely helped us in terms of speech as well as his understanding of language. So thank you, Alex, and I would definitely recommend his protocol for other parents who needs help. Thank you again.
Hi, we've just completed our first round of gut balancing for my son, who is 8 years old, and I wanted to share some of the updates that we've had at this point. So my son is 8 years old. He has an ASD diagnosis. We have tried many different things with him over the years, including lots of different therapies like occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, play therapy, etc. And we've also done some biomedical stuff, and more recently the Nemetschek protocol, and different things have helped at different times. But we still, we still have a lot of areas that we would like to see more improvement on. My son does speak. He's verbally delayed, I would say, for his age, certainly socially delayed, and he attends an ASD class in a mainstream school. So we came across the gut balancing protocol and Alex's work and signed up. While we were waiting to receive the recommendations, we started with chamomile tea, as per Alex's suggestion, and we actually had some mild gains from the chamomile even before starting the protocol properly. I noticed that we had subtly better expressive speech and new phrases, and my son started to express an interest in writing words using chalk on the pavement outside our home. He also started to use letters from the Scrabble set to make words, which was all new. He got 2 mild eye infections at this time, one within a few days of starting the chamomile, and again when we increased the frequency of the chamomile from maybe 3 days a week to most days. And I wondered if this was a sign of a bacterial shift, as I saw another post from a parent in the Facebook group who saw something similar in their child. They were both very mild and they self-resolved within a couple of days without us having to do anything. So we began the protocol when we received the various supplements, and the mild improvements continued. And then in week 5 of the 6-week program, he became very emotional. So crying, saying that he misses me and his dad when he goes to school. He got into bed one day after coming home from school and he just cried and cried. And what was really interesting about this was it is exactly the behaviour, right down to the same phrases and words that he was using when we started the Nemetschek protocol initially. And there is a prebiotic dimension to Nemetschek, clearly. And we got gains from that. So I knew something was happening, basically. And since then, his interest in writing, drawing, spelling has just exploded. He is constantly writing out words, lists of words, the names of songs he knows, and this is all new. He's also drawing pictures for the first time, mostly the things that he's into. So he's quite into traffic lights, he likes lifts, they would be among his special interests. Pictures of his family, and again, that's all new. He hasn't really had any interest in drawing before. The other big thing I've noticed is that he's falling asleep about an hour earlier on average. He behaved very giddily in the evenings for years, and he'd fall asleep late at 10 o'clock or 10:30 or even later, and I'd often hear him laughing late in the evening in bed, even though he might appear to be absolutely exhausted when getting into bed. From reading the various posts in the Facebook group, he seems to have ammonia, which the various supports are helping. From observation, I would also say that he seems to have a high fungal load, because we saw a lot of reactivity in week 5, which coincided with the antifungal part of the protocol, I suppose, increasing, so the Candex dose specifically. And we also introduced another, as part of the protocol, another antifungal element, and his general stimming was just all increasing quite a lot around this time. So we slowed down for a couple of days and it was all manageable. But I do note on the days that he takes one of the antifungal elements in the morning, by the afternoon he's either more emotional or behaviours are higher. So the other thing I would say is I did an ATEC before starting. So the ATEC, the Autism Treatment Evaluation Checklist, I think it stands for, is a measure that lots of people use just to assess, where they are with their kids. So the lower the score, the better. Before starting, the score was 38. That score had been pretty much the same the last time I completed the ATEC, which was September 2021. So 15 months before the protocol started, the score hadn't budged, basically. So 38, and then I completed another one last week, having completed the protocol, and it was 29, so a 9-point drop. I scored quite strictly, I suppose. As I said, he is verbal, but his speech is behind, and he's a lot of ground to make up socially and academically. But it was a very significant drop in an 8-week period, and particularly when we hadn't seen any movement in the previous 15 months. Despite undertaking many different types of interventions during that time period. Other things that I've noticed that are kind of small but still significant in their own way, he will leave my side now for a few minutes in the grocery store when we're out and go to another part of the store to pick out the treat that he wants, the ice cream bar, and he'll come back to me. Before, he never wanted to do this on his own. He was too anxious to leave me. I've noticed new phrases and more expression in his speech at time, like a little bit more intonation in his voice on occasion. He can usually be quite monotone. He's very affectionate. He always has been, but particularly so at the moment. And yeah, just kind of, more, a little bit more outgoing in terms of expressing his opinions on things as well, which is great to see. He does continue to stim quite a lot, and his behaviours can be high, particularly as I mentioned, on the days when he's taking certain elements of the protocol that seem to be kind of directed towards the fungal element. But it's manageable for the moment, and the supports definitely help. So overall, it has been pretty amazing to see the changes in a short period of time. I am absolutely convinced that this is going to be a really important element of, the journey overall for us. I just want to thank Alex so much for this amazing work and for sharing his knowledge and his expertise and his time. It's really incredible what he is doing for this community. I'm really excited by the progress so far. For me, it's like a part of my son's brain has been unlocked, which is just incredible, and we can't wait to do further round. So thank you so much, Alex, again.
Hi, my name is Natalie Dyke, and I have 2 daughters and myself that are doing the gut program with Alex. My older daughter is 11, and I believe that she is on the spectrum. She's never been formally diagnosed. And then my younger daughter, whom is 7, has ADHD and severe anxiety. We started the program. We were still in our first round. I had done a lot of work prior to Alex's program with a number of naturopaths here in Canada, and had always treated the girls' yeast. And so I would see a lot of improvement of symptoms with the antifungals that I was doing. And the candida would just always grow back once I would stop the antifungals. I would never be able to beat it. What I'm finding with doing this first round with Alex is that his program seems to be helping the girls mainly with their anxiety at this point. I've really noticed with my younger daughter, whom had difficulty with going from room to room within our home alone, has started to be able to go to different floors on her own, not asking myself or my husband to accompany her. And that really has been huge for us. Even when she was on the antifungals, I wouldn't see that kind of improvement with her anxiety. So that's been really great. For my older daughter, the biggest improvement that I've seen to date has been, as I mentioned, with her anxiety as well, but with her confidence. She seems to be less timid, a little more able to push herself out of her comfort zone. We are still seeing reactivity with her the next day after probiotics. So we're, just continuing to chip away at it. Another thing that I've noticed with her is her tongue health. She always has this kind of white, chalky yellow tongue. And when I do antifungals, it improves. And I'm really seeing that her tongue looks healthy and pink, and tells me that, in general, things are doing better within her biome. For myself, I have been diagnosed with ADHD. I have a lot of digestive issues. My naturopath and I speak to, SIBO. I've noticed a general calming of myself. I have a lot of issues with regulating my emotions, and I feel calmer. Initially, I felt some exasperation of symptoms, but I definitely feel like I am less reactive. So yeah, that I would, which is great. I mean, that's a huge improvement in trying to heal myself over the years with also, killing agents. I would see improvement as well with my emotions and a lot of my symptoms. But to actually feel like calm at times is really nice. So I do experience some reactivity with the program. I'm still having brain fog at times and fatigue a lot. So I'm, just hopeful that as we test here at the end of round 1 and move into round 2, that we continue to chip away at it and we can continue to see some great improvements. We're really happy with Alex's program. I've worked, as I mentioned, with a number of practitioners. I've spent years in different groups, from PANS, PANDAS to SIBO, histamine, candida, I mean, you name it. And what I like about Alex's program is that he covers all of the bases. Not only does he provide suggestions for support, but he seems to really target so much that is missing from when you go to some doctors. It just feels whole. It feels like you have something that is really going to support everything. And I think that is really valuable in restoring the gut. And I look forward to continued success. So thanks so much.
Hello, I'm a mum of 2 beautiful little boys, identical twins, who are nearly 7 years old. They have been diagnosed with ASD level 2, ADHD, and also DCD, or developmental coordination disorder. We've been doing gut balancing, and we have we completed round 2 and we're just about to start round 3. And I just wanted to share with you a couple of things that have happened with the kids and their improvements. So one of the main things that really attracted me to gut balancing was that they have quite significant gastrointestinal issues in the form of chronic constipation. The constipation was terrible, to the point where one of my twins actually has external hemorrhoids at the age of 3. I went to the pediatrician, and it was not really regarded as a serious issue. Put us on what you call Miralax, we call it Osmolax here in Australia, and sort of went with that. And a year later, when they were about 4 years old, I realized that we weren't going to be resolving this issue at all. All it did was alleviate some of the constipation. We had constant overflow accidents. Toilet training was a nightmare. And of course, school is right around the corner. I've started looking into the microbiome and how that can help kids, and I was mainly worried about their constipation. I felt like it was a physical issue. Surely we can get better improvement than what we have been receiving. I did a bit of research on my own and was quite excited about what I was reading and how it can improve kids with ASD. And that's all I've ever wanted, was improvement in their health. I got onto Alex's website and sent in a sample. I got my results and followed the rules on the Facebook, the best, and got our results, and we started our first round. And I'd say that we saw changes within this week 2. Now, I have kids that do not have issues with food, so we don't have food aversions. So I'm really lucky in that way, where I could hide herbs and take the supplements. It didn't really impact my children's life as far as taking the supplements. It just impacted mine and the organization. I had to be well organized. But I stuck with it, and I saw improvements in mainly their speech skills. They started to articulate better. One of my sons has a bit of a stutter, and that seemed to resolve after our first round. Their gut health, not their gut health, but their constipation became marginally better. Their motor coordination and stimming, that all seemed to calm down. They just seemed overall happier and calmer. And it made me pretty excited, to be honest, because it was not expensive, not hard as far as them taking it. I found ways around how to give them the supplements, and we just went on with our lives and our normal therapies and started prep. I think they were still in prep, which is in first grade type and going to school. And then we started round 2, and round 2 was, you could tell things were going on. The kids seemed to react to the supplements, and it seemed a bit scary at first. I was, oh no, what's going on here? But I learned to cut it back and go slow, just add one thing at a time, and everything settled down. Their constipation after round 2 is, I don't want to jinx myself, but seems to be resolved. They are no longer bloated, no longer having toilet accidents, and yes, they're older, but they're regular, predictable, and sometimes it's like, for us, it was a miracle. This is something that's been plaguing us since they were probably about 10 months old. It was the first time I brought it up with the GP. Their behavior is amazing. They can regulate far better. My one son used to squint a lot outside. It looked like he had a headache, compared to other kids. When a kid has a headache, you get a look about them. That look for him, he never complained about pain or said he had any, but that look that he gets when he goes outside, he no longer seems to be sensitive that way. The anxiety, for the most part, has gone down. Far better at being able to express themselves. I can't tell you how, they were always verbal, but their expression and how they conduct themselves and how they interact with people, it's like a light bulb moment for them. Something that just improves so much. They absolutely still have ASD without question, but the improvement that I've seen in their health and how they feel and their general mood, and they're just happy. And you couldn't, I'm so proud of myself for taking this journey, and I'm so thankful for Alex for the suggestions that he provides. And overall, of all the things we do as parents of ASD kids, it was the easiest thing to implement in our household. All the therapies, all the stuff, it was like a boost up for everything that we were doing. And this year is probably a bit too early to talk about that. They've been at school for 2 years in grade 2, and I have not had one single phone call from the school. I have been phoning them and asking how they're going, and they're saying fine, they're happy, they're participating, and I cannot ask for more than that, really. We're about to start round 3, and I'm optimistic, and I can't wait to see where our journey takes us. But if I were to recommend gut balancing, I absolutely go for it. Talk to your doctor if you have any concerns, but you're improving the health. Talk about neurotypical kids all the time going into GPs and having constipation issues, and gut health balancing helps that too. It's not something, you can absolutely get improvement on the behaviors of ASD kids making them feel better and letting things, supplementing things that their body lacks. It's just, to me, I'm blown away. I had a hope that we could resolve a constipation issue, and I came out with better behavior, more regulated kids, happier kids, kids who are communicating with me, kids who want to hug me. I'm just, in our experience and our individual journey, I couldn't be happier, and I really recommend anyone have a go. You don't know unless you try, and it's safe. There's nothing stopping you from asking for extra professional help, asking outside, ask all the questions. Go slow and see where it will bring you. To me, it's life-changing. To the children, it's absolutely life-changing. My kids just love school. Well, what can you... Really? Yeah, they do. Thank you very much, Alex, and I hope you can understand me. And I'm looking forward to round 3 and all of the support. Thank you so much.
Hello all. Hey, my son is diagnosed with autism at the age of 2 years. We went through, and even still now going through, a lot of difficulties with speech, focus, and a lot of other things. But we are doing a biomedical journey for almost 3 years. One of the issue my son with the eating is whenever he add the gluten or any sugar foods is very hyper, and he is completely a different person actually. Whenever he eats any kind of milk or gluten, he don't respond to his name. He completely acts weird. His stimming is more and all that stuff. So we have done a couple of different biomedical journeys. We focused on chelation, we have done the stem cell. Every other thing helped a little bit in some other areas. But when we followed Alex's gut protocol, it really helped my son in terms of food allergies actually. He's much more, we don't see the allergies or reactions what we used to see before actually. Now we can sustain our gluten foods. It does not have same reactions like what he used to have. We are very happy. We have done 2 rounds of gut protocol, especially the first round of protocol in the 3rd week. My son, who is non-verbal currently, he only have 1 or 2 words actually, mom or dad, that too very occasionally. But he suddenly started saying I love you, I like it during the first round of 3rd and 4th week actually. So we were so amazed, we were so surprised, and that's when we realized whatever gut protocol we are working on, based on Alex's knowledge, Alex has really got a huge knowledge on the gut side actually. I really worked with a lot of other functional doctors, but they only focus on 1 or 2 areas on the gut. But we are very grateful that we worked with Alex, and my son speech exploded during the first round. But again we were not able to retain those skins. That's the reason we are going for more rounds. We are currently in the 2nd round. In the 2nd round, we could see that his focus is improving, is more compliant. This time we did not see the speech benefits what we saw the first round, but we are still happy that we are seeing benefits in some other areas actually. And I know for sure with last 3 years of journey since my son diagnosed, it's going to be a long journey, but all these baby steps, all these good things what we are working on gut, it is helping in some or other areas. We are very grateful to Alex and what he is providing the support, and I'm very positive that probably another couple more rounds we would see a lot more benefits, and at least this may be a platform for some other therapies outside of gut. Once we fix the gut, probably we could focus on something else, other problems actually. But I really appreciate all the things Alex is doing, and I really tell that everyone should look into gut protocol. Thank you.
Hi, this is Swati. I have a 7-year-old son on the autism spectrum. We started working with Alex on the gut balancing protocol a few months ago, last year. So far, we have completed round 1 of the protocol, and we are just getting started with round 2. Seen a lot of positive changes and improvements in my son after round 1. Especially gross motor skills. He was really behind in his gross motor skills. And in the last 5 months, we have seen more changes and improvements in him than we've seen in the last probably like 3 years or so. He has learned roller skating. He's, using a lot of playground equipment. When I take him to the park, he's using monkey purrs. He's able to do spinning, something which he was extremely scared of. So he's overcome a lot of his sensory issues because he did not like getting on swings or going on slides. He's also jumping on trampoline. So yeah, there's been quite amazing gains as far as gross motor skills are concerned. He's also, there's a lot of improvement in his understanding and overall awareness. We've seen more language, like he's using longer sentences, clearer sentences. He's also initiating a lot of conversation as opposed to, just being dependent on prompting or asking him to talk. I mean, he's not fully conversational, but there's been a lot of improvement in his speech. Like he's able to speak complete, clearer, successive 4 or 5 sentences as opposed to just saying a few words. He's also being more affectionate towards the other family members, like for example his grandmother, and like socially he's also noticing things. This was the first year he asked me to take him out for trick-or-treating, and he actually engaged in the entire process of ringing the doorbell and asking for candy and just going from one house to other house. So yeah, I mean, this has been pretty nice to see him wanting to engage in activities socially, which he simply did not want to do early on, like a few months ago. Overall, the experience has been very positive, and it's something that I do recommend other parents. They should definitely give gut balancing a try for their children and see how the child responds and see if you see positive changes in your children. One thing that I would like to share from my experience is the protocol, I think, can be a bit daunting initially, and it's also you probably would see some negative reactions. When I say negative, it's not really negative, but if you probably will see, like I saw with my son, an increase in his OCD and stimming, and some of the supplements like the antiviral supplements like colostrum, they can also produce a fever. But so those things can get overwhelming and even like a bit daunting and can discourage you. But I think they're not really bad things, because once my son had a fever and he recovered from it, we saw an improvement in his language and cognition. So it's all pretty much like a part of the healing process. When the body is healing itself, it's kind of a roller coaster ride. You'll see positive things, you'll see some reactions, some reactivities as Alex explains them. So it's not always a bad thing. I guess as a parent, I feel like the most important thing for me was to just keep Alex in the loop and try to follow through the suggestions, and also make yourself as aware and educated as possible. Like read all the material that is there on the Facebook group. Try to make yourself educated about the different reactions, as like ammonia reactions or surge in oxalates or mast cell activation, even PANS flares. If those things are happening, that doesn't really mean it's a bad thing. It just means that we need to, add more supports to the body to support the process and the recovery and the healing process of the body. So it's important as parents to kind of, be on top of these things and not just rely on a practitioner 100%. And so, yeah, overall, it's been a very positive experience working with Alex, and I would highly recommend that parents should consider this protocol and see how the results you get for your child. Thank you.
My name's Michelle and I'm in my 30s. I've just finished my second round of gut balancing with Alex, and I'm really pleased with my latest stool test results. And in fact, I'm surprised. I just never could have imagined having so many improvements almost across the board, and in such a short amount of time. For background, I have quite extensive microbiome damage, I'm sure like everyone listening to this, from mold exposure, recent broad-spectrum antibiotics, and failed FMT. It's really impacted me across the board. I think most systems in my body are affected, and to the point where I was bedbound for the majority of last year. How the gut balancing has helped me so far: after the first round of gut balancing, my motility improved greatly. I would now consider myself regular, which was not the case before starting gut balancing with Alex. My dysulfo vibrio came way down after the second round of gut balancing, so to the point where I'm able to tolerate a moderate amount of sulfur vegetables like onions, asparagus, sauerkraut. I can eat them every day without having any hydrogen sulfide symptoms, so no gastrointestinal symptoms, and for me, no MCAS symptoms, which would have been unheard of just a few months ago. I am still quite reliant on a lot of supplements and high-dose vitamins to keep my energy stable and to help with my brain health. And I think part of that is other areas that I know I need to work on myself, like correcting nutrient deficiencies and detoxing from mycotoxins. But I also suspect I might have a more aggressive fungal component than any testing is able to pick up. And because that's has been a big question mark for me for a long time, I feel very heard by Alex when I've suggested it a few times, and he acknowledges that and has sent me back additional personalised suggestions on top of my sort of standard protocol. So I'm grateful for that, and I'll be curious to see how things go over the next 1 or 2 rounds. I do intend to keep going with Alex. It seems like things are heading in the right direction.
Hi, Alex. My name is Chi. My son is 4 years old, and I'm in my 4th week of the first round. Yeah, the 4th week, and I'm really excited already. I can say that so far he is stringing a lot more sentences and playing appropriately. And I think very significantly is the first time I remember trying, what's it called? SAC B. He was very hyper, but this time around I introduced it at week 3. And I think with the support, I didn't notice those hyperactivity and jumping so much. So yeah, we're still in week 4, like I said, very excited. He seems more playful, appropriate play, which he didn't used to have before. So I'm looking forward to finishing this round and yeah, getting into another round. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm the father of Ava. She was diagnosed borderline moderate to severe autism at 2.5 years old. She also has macrocephaly as well as a thickened corpus callosum. So far, we've done 2 rounds with Alex, and we are about to start our 3rd. So I'm going to go over the changes that we saw after the first round, but I wanted to preface this by saying that previous to this, Ava was barely responding to anything. She's nonverbal, as well as she has hearing issues, so she really wasn't able to hear anything besides music before. So after the first round, Ava made solid poops for the first time in her life. Her joint attention improved. She would give high fives, which is happening all the time. Her eye contact improved. She started to mimic some sign language. And this is a big one. Her hearing improved. There has always been concern whether or not Ava can hear, but Ava started to cover her ears more appropriately, and she's actually starting to hear tone. She's showing more affection. She comes over to give us hugs. Ava's napping has improved. Her babbling is now purposeful. She's communicating more when she needs help, so she grabs hands, for example, to command attention. Ava's showing better intention when hand over hand pointing. She's able to balance and use the swing by herself. She's also using her tongue more. I know it sounds weird, but it didn't move much before. We actually went to see if she was possibly tongue-tied due to a recommendation from a therapist. She's sounding out new words. Her mood has improved. She seems happier or in better spirits. She's paying more attention to puzzles and has a longer attention span. She's playing with cars and toys more appropriately instead of just turning them over and just spinning the wheels. She's been following along with songs and anticipating actions from songs like They All Fall Down, where Ava will fall to the floor. Ava's motor skills in asking for more have improved. She used to get stressed out, asking for more, sometimes signing near her stomach or her head. But in the last few weeks, she's continued to improve and even asking for more without being prompted. She's able to climb a kid's ladder, which she had been having problems with previously. And she showed us that she can now walk backwards and started walking backwards last weekend, which she took over 10 steps walking backwards. After the second round of Alex's program, Ava's eye contact has continued to improve. She's still not comfortable with it, but she has made eye contact for roughly 2 to 3 seconds now. In general, she avoids eye contact with a passion, which this has given me hope. Her awareness has improved. She's starting to look out windows of our house. Before, she was not interested or completely unaware that anything was outside of the house. Ava's starting to mimic. She saw her sister throwing a ball and went to go do it herself. Her cries were temporarily really sad and much louder. Her emotions seem to be coming out more. There seems to be more of a range, so she's able to show more sadness, but she's also showing a lot more laughter and happiness. Ava's showing more preference, including getting upset when she doesn't get what she wants. She let her sister tickle her and laughed hysterically for the first time. Before, her sister had been really kind of an obstacle for her to just get around, and she really didn't pay attention. So this is a huge gain. Her motor function has continued to improve. She's bending her knees more and looks more age appropriate when running. She is less photosensitive. She has had a real hard time with direct sunlight since she was a baby, and now she's not reacting as much. She's choosing what to eat more instead of eating everything. She's purposefully putting puzzle pieces in place, looking at them, trying to figure out where they go, as opposed to just not looking at it and just moving around the puzzle until it fits. On 4th of July, Ava was actually able to watch the fireworks. Previously, she didn't have the awareness that they were there the previous year. Ava's social interaction has improved. She's letting more people into her life. She let her godmother hold her for the first time for over 10 minutes. Before that, she would not stick around for more than a few seconds. Ava's responding to her name more often. She does have problems hearing, but she rarely responded to her name before. Ava's not covering her ears inappropriately and is flapping a lot less. And Ava is developing a stronger attachment to Dad, which is me, in public. She's more aware when I'm not next to her and starting to look for me and knowing that I'm her human. Previous to working with Alex, the only thing we had really done was the NEM check protocol. The reason it resonated with me was that it seemed like a natural solution. And the reason that we decided to go with Alex was because of his viewpoints on the gut. He doesn't do anything with antibiotics or things that are going to harm the gut. And I really love that approach. That was an important deciding factor in moving forward. One of the other reasons I decided to entrust my daughter Ava with Alex's protocol was because I've read his posts over time. I work in the regenerative medicine industry, helping special needs kids and kids with traumatic brain injuries. And through reading his posts and the multiple studies and so forth that I've read over the years, it was really apparent that Alex really knew his stuff. And that gave me the green light to really want to move forward. And my assumptions were validated after the first and second protocols. So if you're really considering it, I would definitely consider working with Alex because it's done nothing but really bring benefit and hope to Ava's life. Thank you so much, Alex.
So my name is Ruth. I received your email about collecting a bunch of small audio snippets from parents. We are super happy to do that for you, so I'll get going in answering your questions. Our son is currently 3.5 years old, and his diagnosis is autism spectrum disorder. He came out sort of mid-functioning. He has quite a few issues, including being nonverbal, mouthing a lot of objects, stimming, teeth grinding, grabbing of privates, not able to follow directions all the time, really poor hand-eye coordination, muscle core strength, poor balance, being easily distracted. He also can't hear some low tone sounds, and we're getting his vision tested. We have completed one round so far, and we have gotten recommendations for the second round, which we are going to start on Monday. So gut balancing has helped us so far with better eye contact. We've seen improvements in a little bit more sign language. We've seen some gains in wanting to interact socially more than before. We have seen gains in just being faster and stronger physically. We have seen some gains in being able to pay attention for longer during ABA therapy sessions. And we have seen some gains in like not grabbing his privates as much, like him not doing that. And we've seen a reduction in teeth grinding as well. We have seen a bit of increase in stimming, but I think it's just his body trying to get some things out. So we have tried quite a few things. We have always tried to give him a really clean diet. We are really mindful of screen time. We're mindful of how much sleep he gets. We started therapy the month that he got diagnosed. We have rented a PEMF machine before. We've done acupuncture. We've done acupressure. He has a physio. He has an OT. And I think he saw the most gains with his ABA therapy team for sure. In addition to the gut balancing. My kind of personal theory is I think once we improve the physical through gut balancing, then if we try some of the other therapies like acupuncture, acupressure, I feel like those would be more effective once we work on the gut first. Because when we did the acupuncture, and it was a doctor kind of who's worked with quite a few ASD clients before, because Abel still had the gut issues, I feel like the acupuncture probably wasn't as helpful. So we might go back to that if we have the opportunity in the summer, but it's about an hour's drive one way. So it was a huge time investment when I was driving out to do that. And we're very grateful for offering this for parents. A lot of the therapies out there are quite expensive. The vitamins are pricey. They are an investment, but I think comparatively, we would not hesitate to do it again or recommend it. I've been actually recommending it to quite a few parents. So we're just very, very, very grateful, Alex, that you're not charging an arm and a leg for this information. Abel also had a naturopath, a very famous one. We live near Vancouver, BC in Canada. And she was always, showing up on radio shows and things like this. But what she's recommended was maybe like 2 things out of your list of things that you've recommended. So obviously we're seeing much greater gains with you. We're just so grateful. Thank you so much for all the work that you do for parents. We definitely don't take it for granted.
Hi, Mr. Alex. How are you doing? Hope all fine. Mr. Alex, just want to thank you for giving us your recommendation. We have been following your recommendation. We finished the first round and now we are about to start the second round. My son is 8 years old now with an autistic, and he's it's not mild. It's above average, like in here. Honestly speaking, after we started the recommended supplements from your end, I'll be frank, I was skeptical and I was doubtful, but what encouraged me is what I've been reading from the group, the guys that who already did, and they got some good results. Okay, on the second week of starting in the first round, we started noting some improvements, especially on on the sleeping pattern. My son was always having a sleeping problem, but now he is able to sleep like 6-7 hours straight, which is amazing, really amazing. The other thing is he is able to follow instructions now. And fine, he's nonverbal, and now we could see him trying to speak some new sounds coming out. Now waiting for the second round to start. Already ordered the recommended supplements, and hopefully once I receive them within a week or so, we will start the second round, and I'm totally confident that further improvement will be there. Thanks, Mr. Alex, for this, and I really hope, to talk with you again once I'm done with the second round and give you good news with further improvement. Thanks. As I told you, he's 8 years old and autistic, non-verbal autistic. Nice boy. Thanks again. Thanks, Mr. Alex.
Hi, everyone. I'm a mother to a soon-to-be 5-year-old boy, and we've done 1 round of Alex's gut balancing protocol, and I just wanted to give you guys some feedback as to how we're doing and how that went. We are soon going to start our second round as soon as we get our sample report back. Our first round went so well, and the gains were so incredible that we're really excited for round 2. So just a little, information on, who we are and, how things have been going for us. We're actually from Belize, that's in Central America, and we literally have no therapists in Belize. We have no speech therapists, no occupational therapists, no ABA therapists. And so my son has never been able to get any of those therapies done, any kind of services, and nothing. It's just basically me doing my own research and trying to help him as best as I can. And I came across Alex's page, and it seemed promising, and just my mommy gut told me, go for it, try it. And I did try it, and it was incredible. Within days, literally within 3 to 4 days, the first improvements we started seeing were one day my husband was exercising and he was on the pull-up bar, and my son has never really been interested in that. This is a child that has always been scared of being held high in the air. If my husband even tried to put him on his shoulders, he would just get so scared and anxious and would want to come down. He would cry immediately. And he went up to the pull-up bar that day and said, "Daddy, up." And my husband was like, "Oh, okay." So he kind of held him up, and he actually held onto the bar and hung onto the bar for maybe 4 to 5 seconds. Something we've never seen before. And we were just amazed. And he did it over and over and over that night, probably like 10 times. And he was laughing and having fun. And just to see, that upper body strength that we've never seen before was amazing. And then shortly after that, we went to the airport. This was maybe like 2 days afterwards. We went to the airport to drop my mom off. And in the airport, he was literally going up to everybody in the airport and just waving and saying, "Hi, hi, hello." And we were just floored because this is a child that was never interested in anybody else, except me and his dad. And every day from then, throughout the protocol, we just noticed so many gains. He started tracing letters. We got, he's in school and he never really had any interest in tracing. He started tracing letters and numbers. He actually started freehanding letters, and his teachers are just amazed. Like, they keep sending me messages like, "Wow, he's doing so great today," and sending me pictures of what he did. And he started coloring, trying to color within the lines, where before he would just like barely press on the paper and color all over the place. He's just interested in toys more. He's using his imagination, like putting the little men inside the bus and saying, "Oh, the man goes inside the bus, the man goes outside." Putting a man to sit on a little toy airplane and saying, "Man, fly the plane." And he's actually doing more things now than just pushing a car or rolling a ball, or he's actually using toys appropriately and being creative and using his imagination. He's using more words, like longer sentences now in his speech. His speech is developing more now. He's just like more aware, more awake, just more interested in us and other people. His teacher said he started playing with the other kids at school. He's actually not like just walking around in class anymore. He's actually sitting. And one of the biggest improvement we noticed was he was actually able to participate in his school's Christmas play. He actually stood on stage, in place, in a line, where before we did the gut balancing protocol round 1, he wasn't even able to stand in a line for 3 seconds without running around and the teacher having to chase behind him. So when we sat there and watched him on stage, we were just amazed, fascinated that he actually stood in line with his other, classmates on a stage with bright lights, loud music playing, and he stood there and looked on at the audience just like all the other kids, and it was amazing. And there's so many other, gains that we've noticed, and we're just so excited to start on round 2. And it's just been amazing, and we're very, very grateful, that we found Alex, and we found his protocol, and we can't wait to get started with round 2.